Hey, I'm Carrie. Welcome to my channel. Officially, I am Carrieblogger on Fiverr, where I have sold as a career freelancer. I can never say that word. Freelancer for 7 years, and it is Freelance Friday. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about how to make services more accessible, approachable, inclusive, whatever you'd like to call it, for people of older generations. Older, wiser, yeah, older people. You know who I'm talking to. You know. Okay, let's get around this weird subject. I'm not being ageist, I promise. If I'm coming off that way, I really don't mean to. Again, the point of this is to be inclusive and to help everyone be sure that they can search and sell and buy and take part in an online freelance community like Fiverr, where I sell, for example, and feel like they are more confident and welcome in that space. Yeah, so tips for sellers to be more inclusive and approachable and welcoming. Tip number one that I highly recommend is to have really quick responses, especially in an online environment that people might not be as familiar with or just a little bit like new to the concept of working together online. I get a lot of requests from people, especially again of the older demographic, who strongly want to speak on the phone. And personally, I hate speaking on the phone. I found that they're harder to schedule. It's harder to get clear information because when people just have blah, 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 people tend to blah, 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 and just ramble. And then it's not actually like a very clear, concise, brief information. And also the other problem I've noticed a lot is that people just forget what they say because there's no actual transcript, like look back on and refer. And mostly for me, because I work on a lot of projects at a time. And so being able to look back at a message transcript and reread and remember what we talked about is so much easier than if I just have to remember what did we talk about on the phone, 4 days ago, and then how do I actually get to review that information again. So in order to make people feel more comfortable in an online environment where it's purely text-based, I highly recommend quick responses, making sure that you are very available, very responsive, and that everything should feel personal. I do use literal quick responses on Fiverr, which is like our tool to save messages that I'm frequently sending. So I can select a saved preset message and send it out quickly and easily without having to type it every single time. But the more that you can personalize those messages and make it feel like you're actually having a true dialogue and a very clear conversation online, I think is one way that we can definitely make that feel more like a traditional conversation instead of just an awkward, faceless email situation. Show your face and show that you are a real person. Clearly, I hope that these videos prove that I am a real person and that I really am who I say I am, because I think that especially again, if you're not familiar with working with people online and not being able to do face-to-face business interactions, that can be a little disconcerting. And especially if you're worried at all about getting scammed or paying for something with someone who's not actually qualified, those things can be very real concerns. And so being able to show your face, your personality, and being able to feel very present and real and authentic and genuine and all those other very positive attributes, I highly recommend that for everyone in general, but especially an older demographic. Anytime you are in an online marketplace community, there is an element of risk, which there is in some ways, like I mentioned in my Fiverr rant reaction video. Of course, you have to be careful and you need to be very specific about who you choose, how you verify their skills, how you verify what they're going to deliver, making sure that all of those things are clearly defined. But just because it's on the internet does not inherently mean that that is less safe or less quality or less trustworthy or anything else than if you are working in a first-person, face-to-face environment. Honestly, it probably just means it's going to be cheaper because costs are lower because I don't actually have to pay for a storefront, right? And I would love to pass those savings on to customers in that freelance situation. If you want to be more approachable and accessible, basically make it look like you literally couldn't fake this. Like you have no choice but to be a real person. That's my strategy anyway, right? What are we on? Tip number 3? Yes, that's it. I definitely recommend that you update frequently. Again, this is true for everyone in general, but mostly for people who are new to working online. Especially on Fiverr, it will tell you a lot of updates, and it tries to kind of coach buyers through what they should expect, what the timeline is, when they should be receiving things. But it can be difficult, especially if you're doing it quickly or you're, overwhelmed a little bit by the technology and how everything works. It can be difficult to read all of those things and remember them. So I highly recommend that you send frequent updates and just literally keeping them in the loop at every stage of the process, because radio silence is very disconcerting, especially if you're already not sure kind of what's going on or what they should expect. So when I receive an order, as I've said in a previous video, I'll probably say over and over because it's pretty universal. When I receive an order, I also send a message to the buyer at that time, and I either ask for more information or clarification if anything's unclear. So that's right at the very beginning of the order process. Or if everything's good, I always say, thanks for placing the order. I will deliver this back as soon as possible within the 5-day delivery period. Let me know if you have any questions. And so I have a little response that I always send out to make sure that they know that I did receive it. I'm fully good to go. And it's not just like, did they receive my order? Are they working on it? Do I need to do something else? When is this going to be delivered? So just one quick message like that can answer all of those little bit of doubts or worries for your buyers. Thing number 4. Thing number 4 I recommend is to be able to know the technology from the buyer side and be able to coach it. I occasionally will get questions from buyers and they aren't sure literally what to click. There have been some times I literally have to be like, send me a screenshot. Okay, so you're looking in the upper left corner, okay? You're gonna scroll down, you're gonna find the green box that says accept, and you're gonna click that. And then I actually have to coach through how to do that. And knowing how to do that and not sound obnoxious or like you're speaking down to someone, you're just being helpful and not annoyed, is hard to do sometimes. And so if you actually are friendly and can, say this is a custom offer, here's how you accept it, here's what I need next, those very clear step-by-step instructions to help make them feel more comfortable with the platform, knowing how to handle the technology and take part in it. That's a hard skill to have, but it's a really important skill so that you can make people feel included and welcome in a platform like Fiverr. I actually had, fun fact, one time, several years ago, I had a buyer who was an older man, and he told me from the start, he was like, I don't know how to use this technology stuff. Sorry, that was a mean impression. I didn't mean it. And he placed an order with me. I delivered. He was trying to log back into his account, but he accidentally made a second account, and then he couldn't see the order because, hey, that was on a different account. And then he managed to log back into the first, and he logs into the other account again and logs in, and he's like, well, now I can't find it. You took it back. And I'm like, well, I can't take back an order. And super confusing. And by the time we were done with this, he had 4 separate accounts on accident. And it was so confusing for me too, because there were 4 different usernames who are all messaging me about the same order. And he was very upset. And so it got to the point where it was so convoluted, I had to have customer service step in to help him navigate the platform situation. But at the end, he actually was like, I'm sorry, I do realize what happened. And thank you for being so helpful. But I think that almost all the time, knowing as a seller how to help people, how to guide them through the experience, you can take care of that basically on your own. Last but not least, I highly recommend, and this is super simple, to include clear, direct links, because the easiest way to get from point A to point B is by clicking a link. And so I think that sometimes, especially as a seller who is very familiar with the platform, it's very easy for me to just be like, yeah, I have a gig for that. You can go find it on my profile. That is much faster for me, kind of be a hands-off kind of approach, but literally just taking the time to copy a link and to facilitate the process for them. And again, it's not that I think that I don't know, again, have I said this yet? Who knows? But it's not that all people older than me don't understand technology, because I know that is completely not the case. I do think that in general, it can be difficult to enter a new marketplace and a new platform, a new way of doing business that you might not have done before, and feel a little overwhelmed. And that's super natural and normal. So the more welcoming, supportive, proactively helpful that we can be as sellers, the better experience your buyers are going to have in general. Thank you again so much for watching. Again, I'm Carrieblogger on Fiverr if you want to check me out, but this is not selling myself or anything. I just think that I love making these videos. I want to help out other people who are doing similar work to me, and I also just want to make it a little bit more open, transparent, whatever you'd like to call it, about freelancing, because I think that my job is so gosh darn cool, and a lot of people. Please subscribe, comment below, like the video, all those good things, and there we have it.